Nabeel Qureshi, Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus, a devout Muslim encounters Christianity. In Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus, Nabeel Qureshi invites readers into a deeply personal and intellectual journey of faith, transformation, and cultural identity. This compelling narrative explores Qureshi's upbringing in a devoted Muslim family and his eventual embrace of Christianity. Key themes include the clash of cultural paradigms and the power of friendship and dialogue in exploring religious truths. Readers will unravel the layers of theological debate between Islam and Christianity, the historical validity of religious texts, and the profound impact of personal revelation. Through engaging storytelling, Qureshi bridges Eastern and Western worldviews, offering insights into his spiritual quest and the pivotal role of an unexpected friendship. This summary will provide a window into the transformative moments and critical reflections that shaped Qureshi's faith journey, illuminating broader themes of identity, belief, and purpose.
Echoes of Faith. As dawn breaks across Muslim lands, the call to prayer echoes in the air, proclaiming Allah's greatness and the prophethood of Muhammad. These are not merely ritualistic words but foundational tenets of Muslim life, whispered by parents into the ears of newborns in a tradition reaching back to the Prophet Muhammad. Nabeel Qureshi's life began with these sacred words in 1983, establishing a deep-rooted connection to his Islamic faith. Nabeel's family roots trace back to Punjab, Pakistan, but they settled in the United States in the 1970s, grounding themselves in local mosques and maintaining their cultural and religious identity despite frequent relocations due to his father's service in the U.S. Navy. His family proudly belonged to the Ahmadiyya movement, a 19th-century Islamic revivalist group that emerged in British India. Immersed in a rigorous religious upbringing, Nabeel began reciting the Quran and learning Arabic by the age of 4. His father, an avid apologetic enthusiast, instilled in him a passion for defending and articulating his beliefs through theological debate. While the Qureshis embodied the American patriotic spirit, their identity was deeply rooted in Islam. Nabeel's mother often reminded him that the world would always perceive him through the lens of his Muslim identity, a perspective she celebrated rather than lamented. This identity was not just a label but a life's calling, whispered into his ears from birth and echoing in his heart for 2 decades. Nabeel embraced this identity, not only practicing Islam devoutly but also aiming to advocate for his faith. Throughout his early life, Nabeel carried the sense of being a Muslim ambassador, a role that harmonized his personal beliefs with the diverse mosaic of American life. Cultural crossroads. Adolescence presents a profound transformation, likened to a regime change, where young individuals forge new identities distinct from their parental influences. For American children of Muslim immigrants, like Nabeel Qureshi, this journey is particularly intricate. These youths navigate between the authoritative realities of their Eastern Islamic upbringing, which prioritize established truth through authority figures like the ulama, and the Western ideals of individual critical thinking taught in American schools. In traditional Islamic cultures, respect and love for one's parents are expressed through obedience, making questioning a form of defiance. This cultural dissonance became apparent in the Qureshi household, where Nabeel learned to independently evaluate truths at school, an idea his parents viewed as disrespectful. Nabeel's experience exemplifies a deeper cultural clash, as he found himself caught between his Pakistani cultural heritage and the American environment, embodying both perspectives. His parents, ardent defenders of their cultural values, were concerned about the encroachment of Americanized, less conservative norms on their children, such as independent socializing and abandoning familial devotion. These cultural tensions extended to Nabeel's understanding of religion. Having internalized certain parental perspectives, he initially equated Western values with Christianity and saw them as inherently linked. The discord between Eastern moral tenets and the perceived immorality of Western culture led him to view Christianity through a skeptical lens, assuming the Western world was flawed because it was inherently Christian. Nabeel's story reflects the broader narrative of cultural identity struggles faced by immigrant children, where blending dual heritages becomes both a challenge and a transformative journey in shaping their unique worldviews. Friends in Faith. Spreading faith is a vital tenet in Islam, as emphasized in the Quran, where believers are encouraged to invite others with wisdom and kindness, an act known as dawah. When Nabeel Qureshi embarked on his biology studies in 2001, he actively sought to engage others in discussions about Islam. Meanwhile, evangelizing is equally important in Christianity, inspired by the Great Commission, where Jesus urged his followers to make disciples of all nations. At college, Nabeel encountered David Wood, a Christian philosophy student. They both championed their beliefs and aimed to share their faiths with others. However, beyond the theological debates, they forged a profound friendship. This connection was transformative for Nabeel. Growing up in Virginia, he had been surrounded by Christians but felt their faith kept them from forming true bonds. This perception shifted with David, who genuinely engaged with Nabeel. Their relationship prompted Nabeel to show a newfound interest in Christianity. Their ongoing dialogues delved into significant theological questions about the crucifixion, resurrection, and the divinity of Jesus. Despite intense debates, their friendship endured, underscoring that genuine bonds can withstand the pressure of differing beliefs. In retrospect, Nabeel viewed David as a godsend, a figure who shared the gospel through the strength of their friendship. To effectively spread God's message, it is crucial to first connect and care for others deeply. As highlighted in Romans, people cannot believe without hearing the message, and someone must be there to preach it. David indeed preached, and over time, Nabeel's Islamic faith gave way to a belief in Christ. Their story raises the question of how such a transformation was possible, an answer found within the depth of their discussions. Truth or myth? Throughout history, the resurrection of Jesus has been a pivotal point of debate. For Nabeel, the truth of Christianity depends on two monumental events, Jesus' crucifixion and his resurrection. Conversations with David challenged him to scrutinize these events deeply. The idea that Jesus died on the cross and rose again is not just a belief, it is foundational, asserting his divinity and reinforcing his identity as the Son of God, as seen in the New Testament. The Apostle Paul emphasizes that without the resurrection, Christian faith holds no meaning. Contrastingly, Islam venerates Jesus as a prophet and recognizes his miracles but steadfastly denies his crucifixion. This stems from the belief in Tawhid, the utter oneness and indivisibility of Allah, which precludes God incarnating in human form, as Christians claim happened with Jesus. Consequently, the Quran denies the crucifixion. However, historical evidence presents a compelling narrative. Not only do the Gospels describe Jesus' death in vivid, undeniable terms, but non-Christian sources like Roman historians Tacitus and Josephus also affirm the occurrence of the crucifixion. The brutal expertise of Roman executioners and the detailed Gospel account, showing blood and water flowing from Jesus' wound as a certain sign of death, further discredit alternative theories like the swoon theory, which suggests Jesus fainted rather than died. Additionally, the rapid spread of early Christianity and the transformation of figures like Paul, who went from skepticism to a willingness to die for this belief, lend weight to the argument for the resurrection. Such unwavering conviction, in David's words, implies authenticity, as deceit rarely breeds martyrdom. Quran's unseen journey. Imagine a world where the Quran is not merely a sacred text but the pristine voice of Allah whispered directly into humanity's ear. To Muslims, the Quran represents the exact words spoken by God to Prophet Muhammad, infused with divine wisdom and untouchable by time. It is central to their faith because it is believed to have been meticulously preserved since its revelation between 610 and 632 CE. Enter Nabeel, a believer who initially accepted the Quran's unaltered perfection based on the convictions of scholars and reverence of elders. However, delving into its historical roots led him down a path of inquiry. The narratives weren't merely about unbroken continuity but told of fraught periods in Muslim history, just before the Prophet's passing. A moment when the burgeoning Muslim community in Saudi Arabia faced upheaval, where newfound converts turned away, and Abu Bakr, Muhammad's successor, engaged in battles against apostasy. The pivotal concern was this: most Quranic revelations were orally transmitted. Imagine the fear that divine messages could disintegrate with the passing of those who had memorized them. Spurred by this threat, Abu Bakr commanded the gathering of these sacred verses into a unified scripture, a Herculean task, sometimes hinging on the testimony of a sole individual remembering a particular passage. Yet, the story didn't end there. Uthman, Muhammad's third successor, confronted divisive arguments over the Quran's authenticity, which threatened to incite civil unrest among Muslims. His solution was the creation of a standardized Quran, ordering the obliteration of any versions not conforming to this new norm. This decisive action was seen as divinely guided by many, yet for Nabeel, it raised the question, was the Quran truly unchanged? This exploration of the Quran's history showcased that it evolved through human effort as much as through divine inspiration. It challenged long-held beliefs, suggesting adaptation was part of its journey. For the faithful, the reassurance lay in the conviction that these transformations were not random but ordained by Allah's will. Nabeel's inquiry invites a deeper reflection on faith and the complexities interwoven with divine literature, underscoring a profound intersection of belief, power, and interpretation. Awakening to unconditional love. Nabeel's journey of faith underwent a profound transformation when the foundation of his belief in Islam faltered. Detached from the historical doctrines, he turned to the Quran, seeking divine guidance. Yet, he encountered only a rigid deity bound by law and devoid of warmth. The God he found there wasn't one who welcomed doubt or offered personal connection, rendering his search unfulfilled. Turning away from the Quran, Nabeel reached for the Bible, allowing its pages to unfold a narrative of unconditional love. Immersed in the New Testament, he stumbled upon words that ignited a spark within, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." His once stagnant heart resonated with rejuvenation. The notion of a God who blessed not the sinless, but those in pursuit of righteousness, marked a significant shift. Unlike the rigid God of his studies, this was a deity who cherished him unconditionally, embracing all of humanity with love and compassion. As he absorbed the teachings, tears of understanding and connection rolled down his face. The scriptures filled his heart, offering solace and sense. Stepping outside into the world, Nabeel saw people with renewed clarity. He noticed a man shuffling toward the medical school, a man he didn't personally know yet understood shared in the universal struggle. Here was a fellow soul enmeshed in vulnerabilities and uncertainties, a survivor of life's harsh teachings that painted existence as a mere accident of evolution, devoid of inherent purpose or hope beyond transient joys that ultimately led to disappointment. This encounter inspired Nabeel's mission. He accepted that many, like this man, were trapped in a perpetual cycle of despair. But now, Nabeel was touched by a new revelation, a calling to share the message of an all-encompassing, unconditioned divine love. He realized that the revelation of God's profound love isn't something intuitively known, it must be communicated by those who have discovered its truth. Armed with this newfound purpose, Nabeel vowed to carry forth this message, bringing light and hope to those navigating the shadows of spiritual desolation. His path was clear, a life devoted to spreading the good news about the love and grace found in Jesus Christ.
Nabeel Qureshi's Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus offers a striking testament to the transformative power of truth and love. The book underscores that faith can transcend cultural barriers and emerge anew through genuine dialogue and open-hearted exploration. Qureshi's journey from Islam to Christianity is marked by rigorous examination, challenging the authenticity of religious texts and the cultural contexts that define personal beliefs. His story highlights the significance of friendship, sincerity, and critical inquiry in navigating spiritual and existential dilemmas. Ultimately, Qureshi conveys a heartfelt message: God's love is a profound and unconditional force that invites each of us into a deeper understanding of purpose and meaning. The book serves as both a challenge and an inspiration, urging readers to examine their beliefs with honesty while remaining open to change, drawing them closer to the realization of love's transformative power in their own lives.